Hi guys, David Michael here. I've got a plant that I've been using since I was a kid and admiring since I was a kid. I wanted to show it to you. This one has several names. Chicory intybus is the Latin name. This is chicory. Many of you have seen this plant. Some people call it the blue dandelion. I always just called it chicory, but I kind of like the name blue dandelion. I think it's cool. The leaves at the base of this resemble dandelion. And if you've traditionally eaten dandelion greens as a kid, this may have, depending on where you are in the country, this may have been part of what you've eaten. The young leaves in the spring can be eaten just like dandelions, and traditionally was gathered, dandelion greens were gathered as blood purifiers in the spring. But the reality of it is, most people went through their winter stores of food and lacked vitamin C, so having fresh vitamin C in the spring as soon as the snow thawed was crucial. So this was among the first spring greens to emerge, as well as dandelion, wintercress, and a few others. The leaves here are definitely resemblant of dandelion. These are older leaves, and the younger the leaves, the closer to dandelion they look like. This is dandelion, and the bottom of dandelion is usually relatively glossy and smooth, whereas the bottom of chicory is usually fuzzy and the central leaf axil is fuzzy. That's how to tell the difference in the early spring, but it wouldn't matter because both are edible and both are delicious. But what I use this particular plant for is the coffee substitute. Now there are some medicinal values to this root, which can be roasted and eaten. I have nibbled on it raw, but it can be roasted and eaten. It can be roasted and ground. It can be added with dandelion root to make coffee, tea, or decoctions. And it can be just roasted and ground to make a chicory coffee substitute, which I actually prefer the flavor of chicory root for coffee over I do regular coffee we would buy at the supermarket. I'm sure it's probably better for you if you harvest it in the right areas. Another thing is, this likes wastelands, this likes roadsides, this likes developed areas. It grows really well where other plants do not. It's airy, very few leaves towards the top. All the leaves will be towards the base of the plant. It's easy to recognize and identify because of the dandelion-like leaves and because of this beautiful blue flower that is reminiscent of a bachelor button, I would say. I am in an area that is really clean. There hasn't been any farm runoff here for decades and decades and decades because there's no development. The land is privately owned, and I'm very confident that there are no chemicals to worry about here. You'll see this plant in a lot of areas across the United States because it was once used in Europe and America as a coffee substitute. It was once cultivated here, and of course it has escaped. So don't harvest this from the roadside, guys, but if you do run across this plant in a clean place and you do know that there isn't any pesticides or farm runoffs or high nitrates in the soil, I recommend that you try this root, that you roast it, that you eat a few, and that you grind it up and try coffee. It is absolutely astounding compared to coffee, and I prefer it, like I said. Also, there are some medicinal values to this. This is a preventative kidney health. I read an article about inflammation of joints that this plant was used for. But it's a old world plant that has yet to release all of its potential. The roots, by the way, are very large and deep, and it's kind of difficult to gather. So bring a small shovel with you when you find a clean place to harvest it. The blue dandelion, Chicory antibus, chicory, and roasted chicory root is what I recommend you guys try. Happy foraging, guys.